There are just so many new revenue streams that are coming into the business. If you look at over the next 3 years, e-commerce globally is going to at least double from 3 trillion to 6 trillion, and a lot of that goes into the internet and media. There are a whole bunch of new businesses that are coming in online. So, for example, sports gambling is going to in the next 4 years. So there's so many new revenue streams that are going to be in this business. It doesn't necessarily mean it's going to go to the biggest companies, but there's going to be a lot more money flowing into tech and media.
But here's, to take the tech piece out for a second, I just want to talk about media for a second, because part of your premise is it relates to subscription businesses, no? And when I say
yes.
subscription businesses, the Netflix and Hulu's of the like, but also even publications, all of which are throwing up paywalls, and more people are having to subscribe to actually get to that content. My question is, isn't there an upper limit where you start to push on the edge and consumers say, I can't do this anymore?
It's so far, it's not only is it not happening, but people are finding that there are new things, there are other things that they're going to pay for. We forecast that there's going to be video gaming subscriptions, that the video game business is also going to practically double in the next 4 years. There's so many other ways in which people they're going to be paying for broadband access, for 5G. There's so many new ways in which people are going to end up paying for tech and media. If you look at what a huge part of the average consumer's lives tech and media plays. So at the end of the day, they're going to continue to subscribe and they're going to continue to pay.
But my question, therefore, is then who's the loser? Because this is discretionary spending for most people. So if they're spending it on subscriptions for video game services and Netflix and Hulu, and then magazine subscriptions and newspaper subscriptions and 5G, the money's got to come from somewhere. Who's the loser?
I don't think there is a loser. I think that in a lot of cases, people are allocating their spend, but from other things in their lives. But it's mainly going to be consumer products. It's other things like that. It's maybe going out to restaurants, because we're finding that people's tech and media time is actually going up. We're forecasting that people are going to spend another 11 minutes a day with entertainment or tech.
Hey, Michael, just really quickly, I hadn't thought of it until Andrew posed that question, but we've been talking today about the potential for late cycle and how that worries a lot of market watchers and investors. What about in this scenario, too? Right now, people have a lot of discretionary spending, but if we do head into an economic recession, a downturn, what happens? What would go first in terms of what entertainment they're paying for?
Right. We've never seen, it's never been a cyclical downturn in terms of the amount of money that people are paying for subscriptions, whether it was back in the old days, whether it was movie theaters or even cable. We've seen it at the edge, but for the most part, people continue to pay for tech and media.
You also talk about the smart camera finally maturing to a point where it's so meaningful in our lives. What do you mean by that?
We're going to be at a point where everybody is going to have a lot more smart cameras in their lives. The smart cameras have gotten a lot, the intelligence, the visual intelligence has got a lot better. They're networked together now. There's a whole bunch of functionalities. If you look at the Amazon grab and go concept, that's enabled by cameras. You look at the Ring Cam, people are now putting them not just at their front door, but also at their back door and around their houses. Cameras on cars. So we forecast that the average American is going to have 12 cameras within the next 4 years.
Okay, of all the things that you talked about last night when you put together this presentation, what is the one upside surprise, the one thing you think nobody is thinking about? You have predicted lots of things, by the way, over the years. By the way, he was one of the first people to ever tell me to get into Bitcoin. Remember when we had that dinner? This is probably 2012, 13. Then he said the Black Panther was going to be a huge hit way before anybody else knew. Anyway, Michael, so
give us another tip.
Give us one more big tip this morning.
I think that there are a couple of things that are going to happen in the next couple of years. I think one of them is I think we're going to see podcasting. Not only is it going to continue to take off, but it's going to be a business. Right now, it's really not a business, and we're going to see one of the major tech companies to create the YouTube for podcasting. I also think we're going to see it's not just more cameras in people's lives. I think we're going to see the utility of cameras. So if the last wave of home devices was the speaker and it was voice, the next wave is vision. And so if we had talked about this 5 years ago, nobody would have imagined there'd be a home speaker in multiple rooms of people's houses. I think everyone's going to get very comfortable the functionality, trading off the functionality for privacy.